coming to today's support group meet. We're going to be doing a open Q&A on, I guess, PMO and the behaviors that surround that. So go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, of course. So actually, one guy told me or asked me to, while I was picking and writing the questions, to pre-answer them, but I decided against it to be more genuine. So I'm gonna post the question in chat. If you can't talk, you can respond in support group text, and I can read it out loud for you if you don't have a mic or too shy. So the first question, I'm posting it right now. So the first question is, what other dependencies does PMO stimulate for you? And what I mean by that is, when you are on PMO or just binging, it can be whatever. What other vices or behaviors, bad behaviors, are stimulated and are increased by that? So, like, I don't know if it's tradition or not, but I'll start with myself. I am really high on caffeine. I get really high on caffeine and nicotine. So usually that does increase, the consumption does increase a lot. The dependency for music though decreases because I have a dependency for music. Don't ask. And yeah, that's about it. Honestly, it's just that I just noticed that it does change the other dependencies. So I'll see what I'll be hearing from you.
I'll just read out what someone typed. They said, staying up late at night, especially for me, I sleep at like 3 a.m. or something when I relapse. Another guy said, not waking up on an alarm. Also having a coffee addiction for one person, over gaming and watching too many videos. I think for me, it's like just like feeling like I need something else to comfort me all the time in order to do something else productive. Like, because I think that for me was part of the PMO was okay, well, you know what, I got this productive thing I want to do and I don't want to do it right now, so I'll fap first and then I'll do it. And so it's kind of like a cycle for that, you know, self-comforting in order to get away from something I don't want to do or a feeling I'm having that I don't want to deal with, if that makes sense.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. I can actually relate to that. If anyone wants to talk, they can do so right now. I'll wait for like a minute. Don't be shy. This isn't a public announcement. This is just your feelings. It seems like no one likes to. No one would like to speak out loud. It's fine if you do it in chat, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'll just move on to another question.
Wait, can you wait? I would like to speak, but English is not my first language. So is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Of course, that's fine.
Okay. I can't really speak good English, but I will try my best. So for me, staying up late and not doing anything productive will, you know, that's the reason why most of the time I will fap.
Yeah, that's a completely fine answer. Doesn't matter your proficiency in English.
No, you sound fine. You
Um,
don't sound like someone who doesn't know
it's fine,
English.
honestly.
Yeah.
It's not. It's my third language personally, so it's fine. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Would you like to add anything, was?
No, no, no. Continue.
Okay. So I think I'll move on to another question, which is basically the opposite. I'm gonna post it right now. The question is, which behaviors or anything in general get suppressed during PMO periods? Which is basically the opposite of the first question. What behaviors are suppressed? So I guess I'll start again. The biggest thing that gets suppressed, I believe, for me is definitely productivity or anything to do with being productive. Especially like as it is, I procrastinate a lot. Not to mention during whilst you're stimulating yourself, like you afterwards you do feel relaxed, and that's a part of it that definitely, I don't know the word for it, maybe stifles productivity. But the main thing that gets suppressed, I believe, is I don't know, socializing. Let's just say like that. I don't really want to talk to anyone or do anything relating to talking to anyone or doing anything with people after waking up, after doing the deed, as I should say. So yeah, that's my story.
I can say for me, the moment that you posed that question, I thought about like being affectionate in my relationships. I didn't think that I was, a not affectionate person, but after quitting, I just feel more sensitive to my partner. I feel like showing that kind of affection and interest in them. Whereas before, I just didn't feel like I had the energy. I guess mentally I'd already put myself up. I was already done with that, didn't need to. But after quitting for as long as I have, I want to show affection. I want to be sweet. Whereas before I wasn't as much. And what you said about like being antisocial, I didn't think I was, you know, avoiding people from PMO. But when you started to describe it, I'd say that like it's funny how right after, like you said, doing the deed, no, I didn't want to talk to anybody for a while. I kind of did want to isolate, and I never really put two and two together until you mentioned it.
That's great. One person said, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but when I relapse, I feel more inclined to go out and socialize. Um, uh, that's an interesting way to put it,
Yeah, what do you mean by
because
that? I kind of want to. Can you elaborate some more?
I guess what this person means, because he's not typing in chat. I guess what
He's
how he
typing.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know what you. Okay.
It makes you feel lonely when you do it. Okay.
That makes sense.
Hey, yo, hugs in the chat. Let's go.
Uh, Personally, what I feel like it gets suppressed is my productivity and especially energy. I feel deprived of all the energy I had. I feel like I can do nothing. It's just it feels like I have nothing inside my body. I'm just inanimate. I can't move. I can do anything. When I wake up, I feel extremely bad. Uh, it's maybe just because I'm wasting my energy in something extremely bad and stupid. That's just the one thing that gets suppressed. I cannot do anything. I cannot muster up the energy to do just anything because my brain is fogged. I can't think mentally. I can't do stuff physically. It's a really devastating experience. So yeah, that's my answer to the question.
There are no wrong answers, and I completely feel you, man. It's it's really a struggle when it becomes an addiction. I know friends that don't have this addiction per se, and they're just fine. So I think it's good to open up about that.
For sure.
One person in the chat says, "I'm always lonely, so no difference." Um, I actually kind of relate to this, so. But if anyone wants to speak right now, they can.
So for me, whenever I relapse, I can't able to think clearly, and for the entire day, I will be in my room, and I won't even go outside.
Can I ask, is that because you feel lonely or isolated?
No, I feel shameful and I regret what I did. I know it is wrong, but sometimes when I relapse, I don't want to hurt myself, but I feel like I need to hurt myself to get out of this addiction.
So you like accept the
Oh,
guilt,
okay.
like you use the guilt to feel bad and try to stop is what you're saying, or
Yeah, sometimes I just need to feel some pain. I feel like I need to punish myself to escape from this addiction. And one time I even punched my hand in the wall and I broke my wrist. Uh, you know that's kind of thing. Every time I relapse, I regret so much that I will end up doing something to myself.
Uh, that sounds like depression, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
self
okay.
Well, man,
hurting
you
yourself
shouldn't
is
have
not
Actually,
done
normal.
that, man.
I was depressed.
Well, I just gotta say thank you for sharing. And
yeah,
one
not
person in the chat even said that that they wanted to cut themselves and that they understand you. Just if you ever feel depressed, just know that you're not alone. That's why we're here. We're not alone. We're not. We're the army, bro. Army of Chads, if I might say. Um, but yeah, if anyone else wants to share their story.
I think that was good.
Oh, thank you, T-Train. Thank you. Good luck on your studies. If you gotta go, you gotta go. That's fine.
Miz
Oh, you
has
got
a
a
question.
question? All right.
I really hope it's not. Can I put my balls in your jaws?
Just remember that you can say anything in the interim. What physical traits, characters do we think PMO affects? I I believe it affects. Some people have PIED or porn-induced erectile dysfunction. So that's, I think, the main thing that some people have, but it also depends on your age. Some other people have said that they have a lot more gains when they don't uh, do PMO, which is more of a semen retention question more than a NoFap question. As for myself, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, some people say that they have a lot of physical changes after quitting. I don't know how much of it has to do with quitting PMO. I mean, there have been studies. There's that one study that was carried out that said after a week, their testosterone increased by 47%. So, in theory, increasing your testosterone will change your physique. I don't know how much long term that actually impacts you. But what you were saying earlier with like the PIED, there's also females who struggle with that as well. I can attest to that. So if there's any chicks out there who deal with that issue, you know, you're definitely not alone. It is something that we struggle with. Just for being addicted to something that's a hyperstimulus for so long, you're going to have that kind of problem, or likely to have that kind of problem.
Oh wow, you learn something every day. I actually didn't expect to hear that.
Yeah.
That like actually. By the way, honestly, now that I think about it, I need to shave way more now, my facial hair. And I'm not really sure why. It's just kind of out of the blue. I used to shave every 2 weeks. Now I shave every 4 days. So like, I don't know, maybe. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but
It's
maybe.
possible, right?
One person wants to share a quote. So I'm going to read it. The way to chastity is not to struggle directly with incontinent thoughts, but to avert the thoughts by some employment or by reading or meditating on other things. And it says that it's by Isaac Newton. I don't know if it's by the actual Isaac Newton or you yourself, but
I want to look that up. Let me find out.
I think what this means is that you should replace some good. You have to replace the bad thing with a good thing in your life, and that may be reading, meditation, or whatever.
That's a
Which
real quote.
is
It is a real Isaac Newton quote.
It is. Wow. Okay. Dude
I
was
think
a
he was about
Chad,
that
bro.
life. Yeah, he was. He was all about chastity, actually.
Which is a good segue into our next question. But before that, does anyone else have a story?
I mean, if we're looking at it from the way it affects physical stuff, the only thing I've really noticed is an energy decrease. Some days I just feel absolutely slumped.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I'm at work a lot of the time and it's a very active job. But some days I wake up and already I'm just absolutely done in.
You mean with
So
quitting, or while you're dealing with your addiction?
no, I just feel drained. Just no energy.
From
And
fapping
to
or
be
no
honest, I do
fap?
relapse every day. So
It seems like people can actually relate to that. Whilst I was quitting, I actually improved my physical strength because my previous job required that a lot. So I can relate to that. I can't imagine what my job would have been if I was on PMO. Jesus Christ. Um, yeah. So as I said, the Isaac Newton quote is a great segue into your next question, which I'm going to post right now. If you have quit successfully for a longer period, what behaviors did you integrate instead of PMO? I'll start with myself again. I have never quit successfully for as long as I have now, which is, let me check, about 10 days maybe. And what I did integrate is just working out, but not working out because I'm broke. So I just do no equipment, push-ups and whatnot. anything really, core exercises, leg exercises. And as I think Deaf Mammal can attest, I can write way faster. So I also integrate study into that. So I'll be waiting for your responses.
What has been made me successful? What behaviors I integrated? I really want to circle back to what the Isaac Newton quote was. I stopped playing with thoughts. If I started thinking about something that would create an urge, just diverting mentally and thinking about something else, getting engaged with something else as soon as possible, because I felt like that was the best barrier from dealing with the next step, which is feeling overwhelmed with an urge. Stopping before it starts, essentially. That has been key, but I feel like I also implemented a lot of other barriers along the way, because I didn't start doing that until probably around day 25 or so. So before that, I would just talk to my accountability buddies if I was dealing with something, and just accepting that it might take a while. I have done cold showers. That's very efficient. Very efficient. You just have to kind of make that decision that I will do this before I break. And getting onto the Discord channel here, and just talking away, trying to get, whatever it took to get distracted, to make that time pass until I felt okay again. But if you don't tease the thought, you're not likely to go down that rabbit hole. At least for me.
Someone in the chat said that they play their piano daily and code daily. I guess it depends on the passion. Honestly, I'm not that musical of a person, but if it helps, right? If it helps, it helps. So that's a great answer, actually. I should try to, personally, I should try to learn an instrument. Why not? So, by the way, one thing, I really gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna let Deaf Mammal really quick just take over from here.
Okay.
And if no one responds or something, I'm gonna send her the next question. Take it away.
So, to add on to the playing piano, coding daily, I guess you're referring to and this other person. Studying is something that you have integrated with quitting PMO, or what do you mean by that? Mr. Isaac, sir?
I haven't been out of the loop for a while now, but it's been 4 weeks. I'm on a 4 week streak. So the thing that I have integrated is doing yoga in the morning. I took the initiative to do yoga in the morning. Like, I found a really good 30-minute video of doing just yoga, just 30 minutes to myself and my health in the morning. I sleep early because the urges are the most intense at night. You are alone in a room. No one's like, everyone's sleeping, so you are alone. No one's there, and just the perfect time for your brain to go, okay, relax right now. So I've been sleeping early. I've been doing yoga early mornings. Just a great way to use my energy towards a better goal. And yeah, just being more physically active, just going around the house, doing chores, and being physically active.
Does yoga help
That's
you in the morning?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How does it help you?
It interests me. Like it's you're channelizing your energy in a much better way to a much better purpose than just relapsing. I don't know. It just makes me mental clarity and peace.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. It helps you think clearer. Like
yeah,
organize
and
your thoughts better.
it's all like you know, yoga is the poses. It can really help you just be like in a better shape, and as well as it can be just a good health advantage. Like it reduces the chance to be diagnosed with all those diseases because you're active all of a sudden. And yeah, also I've been
Oh,
eating healthy.
bye bye.
So yeah, that's the kind of things I've integrated.
Eating healthy.
Yeah, eating healthy. Like no more junk food. Just totally cut out of my diet. No more sugary processed food, sodas, all that bad stuff. Just totally cut out of my diet. Those are
I
some things
think
that I feel like have helped me
uh,
maintain my streak.
I think meditating and yoga is like a form of meditation, or
Yeah,
meditation is a form of yoga, actually, the other way around. Uh, Doing that in the morning is immensely helpful because it can help lower the anxiety throughout the day, I found for me. Um, and I think for a lot of people, anxiety is the reason they relapse.
Anxiety? You mean like social?
I think general.
Just anxiety in general, like stress, like could be a lot of things, is a big reason a lot of people relapse, I found.
Well,
I don't
that's
know if anyone
true.
else.
I
Yeah, I
think
agree
I
with
think
that.
one of the reasons maybe isolation, as people said. I think that's one of the main reasons. Actually, one study, I forgot which one, but it shows that primates, monkey primates, masturbate when they're in captivity, way more than they're in the wild. So maybe some truth to that. Don't quote me on that, actually, but I'm just saying.
I could
No, I
Um,
see
think
it.
it applies, definitely. Just anecdotally.
what behaviors did you integrate instead of PMO was the question, and I don't know. Uh, Maybe anyone else, or did
What was the
I
question?
wasn't. The question was, if you have quit successfully for a longer period, what behaviors did you integrate instead of PMO?
I think I
So
have
I
an
don't know how
answer. I
many
didn't really
people
say
already
that.
answered. I wasn't present for the question actually, so. Um, but if no one else answers, I'm gonna move on with a more general question.
I think I have an answer for it. I haven't really talked that much lately. It was just AG that responded when you're left, by the way.
Oh, that's fine.
Uh, I think the biggest possible thing was meditating every morning. Um, that was the biggest thing actually for my health and happiness. Uh, just like meditating in the morning helped lower my anxiety, my depression. It didn't help immediately. Uh, I will say that it took a couple months, uh, but it's immensely helpful. Also, being around people, setting goals. It's just focusing on stuff other than the addiction, I think, is very powerful because it helps you not think about it as much. I don't know if anyone else can relate to anything that I said.
I miss
I
meditating.
think,
I used to
but
meditate every
most
Say
morning,
what?
people,
and I used to do yoga every morning, and
Uh huh.
it's just a great way to like kind of set you in the right headspace for the rest of the day. It's something I don't do anymore, and I really want to pick back up again.
Oh no.
I know it's so hard to start back up once you've stopped, but yeah, I feel like doing something like that just makes you more productive and less likely to do things that you're trying to quit doing, including PMO.
I
Uh,
think most people can relate partially to anything, but in this case, I'm really sorry, but as a person who's been like never can sit still, I never understood meditation. but I have tried like 4 times cold shower, and I just feel pumped for hours, man. So I'll try to integrate that actually, because you reminded me of that.
Of meditation.
No, the cold showers. I never understood meditation. Never helped me, honestly.
I think meditation, different meditations work for different people, but I think generally meditation is good for like everyone. And I think cold shower actually can be a form of meditation. Uh, my head is like really foggy right now because I'm pretty anxious talking in
That's
a public
fine.
support group like this.
You're doing good. I promise.
But yeah, you should look into like the different types of meditation. I think mindfulness is the most generally like helpful for everyone. And if you want, I can like message you later about
Oh,
how I
that'd
practice
be
it.
great, actually. I've been looking into the Wim Hof method, and basically
Uh-huh.
my
Oh,
medication
that's
is
great.
music.
Music?
Yeah, just for hours all day, music. Actually, I'm having a little bit of a stress right now, uh, just because I haven't listened in about an hour and a half. So it's like a drug. It's fine. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Okay. Okay. This has been amazing, but we have to move on. So, does anyone else want to share their story?
Boy, this room can get quiet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been quite.
that's so like
It's fine.
sometimes I
It's
took
fine.
over as facilitator for another group, and there's just like I ask a question, there's like 10 seconds of silence. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Oh man.
you get used to it.
You know, for the
Yeah,
record,
I'll,
though,
I'll
we're
get. I
having a
guess.
lot more people talking than we did just a couple of weeks ago. Normally, everybody did it just in the chat, so it's nice to have some people periodically talk out loud. I think it. I don't know. From a YouTube perspective, I think it sets the stage well.
So I'll move on to the next question, and that would be, what does PMO take away from you? I'm going to post it right now, and it's a general question. Just anything really. But yeah, I already see the responses flooding in. It's definitely time for me myself. It's time. I mean, the amount of times I've been up late at night and just spent 2 hours doing nothing. My sleep quality was terrible. And yeah, that's basically the biggest thing that it does directly take away from you. Not to mention what I mentioned before, which is it gives you anxiety. And for me, it gave me anxiety, social anxiety, and or being asocial, to be more exact. So yeah.
So what I heard from that was sleep is like the biggest thing, the biggest culprit for causing you to relapse. But also, what'd you say about social anxiety?
Before I mentioned that, um, well, if the question was which behaviors get suppressed during PMO periods, and when you binge and stuff. So one of them was definitely being socially active gets really suppressed for me personally. So yeah,
You
but
don't really want to talk to people a lot.
or like anyone actually, besides from
Okay.
family. So, yeah.
I see friends, more time, family, masculinity. That's interesting. Energy, girth. That's an interesting one as well.
Self-confidence.
That's powerful.
What do you mean by
Oh,
courage?
concentration. As a
It
person who has no
takes.
concentration, that's that must suck.
What were you saying, AG?
Yeah, it takes away energy. It takes away mental clarity. Your brain is full with all that weird thing that people call brain fog, self concentration. You can't concentrate on stuff, and you feel terrible. Feels like somebody has taken your peace. Someone has like it's a devastating feeling that you just don't want to experience. So yeah, I guess it makes you mentally and physically unstable.
Oh, I
That's what
can
I would say.
definitely relate to that, especially the mental part. 100%, man.
It's so
I feel it.
interesting. Talking about the mentally, you said mentally and physically unstable, AG?
Yup.
That is so interesting you say physically unstable.
Yeah, it's when you wake up, at least for me, I had no energy, and it happened specifically on days before I relapsed. I'm not taking it as a coincidence. It just can't be. So that's why I said physically and mentally unstable. I
And
basically
it
don't
sounds
want to
like,
do anything at that point.
Right.
I just
So what are you
yeah.
trying to state here is the problem. What are you
Uh,
trying to state?
you see, if you don't have any energy, you don't want to move around, you don't want to do any physical activity, you don't have any motivation to do anything, so you lay around, you do
You
nothing,
do have
and
motivation to do anything. You just need to
I
get
don't know.
yourself
It's
up
for me.
and do it.
It's it's for
Stop
me.
being
Like,
lazy.
but I'm just saying that that's what's happened when I relapsed. I'm not saying that it's a problem with me now. I'm just saying that's what I experienced.
yeah, clean. I think what I'm hearing is like when AG relapses, or at least yeah, what I've experienced with relapse is like you just like you start to focus on like the negative self-talk, and you really start to focus on the relapse. It's hard for yourself to motivate afterwards.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
need motivation. You can motivate yourself. Stop trying
Well,
to
Dude,
motivate
not
people.
everybody
clean.
sees life like you,
Clean.
dude. People are
I don't think
different. You can't really just
Stop trying
impose
to act
your
like a little baby.
uh
And you do you.
clean. I
what
don't
the
think the
hell.
negative self-talk is really needed.
Clean. I want to hear your thoughts then.
Yeah, kick a chat yet.
On the last question. What does PMO take away from you? No? Okay. We doing some things, I guess.
Clean. Did you hear Mammal?
Oh, who's pissing in the background?
Bruh, it's clean.
That was kind of funny, I admit it.
He's taking a piss, man.
Yeah. Alright,
It's
well,
Queen.
a new trial
Thank
mod.
you.
I'm gonna temporarily mute
You
Clean
sus boy.
just because of the background noise. It's funny,
sus little boy.
but yeah. So
Chats.
does anyone else like to share what PMO takes away from themselves in general? Doesn't have to be one exact thing, just in general. Oh, someone said self-worth.
That's a good one.
And someone else before said self-confidence. So I guess it's a shared thing. I can relate a little bit to that, but not a lot.
For those that said that they can relate to lessening their self-worth and self-confidence, can you like clarify that a little bit?
I
Like,
think for
expand
me it
upon
was
it?
so much
Like
more
how?
subtle. I don't feel like I had like
Uh-huh.
an overwhelmingly like, oh, I feel like such a bad person, because really I was in denial that what I was doing was wrong. I didn't feel like I was doing anything inappropriate. I felt like this was supernatural and normal. Um, but I do think that engaging in that behavior, I mean, neurochemically, it's such a powerful phenomenon, you know, to climax. I feel like I wouldn't have noticed until I stopped, but it does impact me on a very subtle psychological level, where the things that I enjoyed were demeaning towards females, right? I knew on the surface that that's not reality, but deep down, emotionally, it did impact me. It did change the way that I felt about my relationships and myself, and I did place myself on a lower level than where I was in reality, even though I thought I wasn't, and I didn't start to notice any shift.
You thought you
until
what?
I didn't. I thought I wasn't putting myself lesser than. Does that make sense? I didn't think that I was doing that until having quit for as long as I had, and
You didn't realize it.
right. It's not. It was subtle. It's a mild change, but it has, for having quit at this point. It has impacted my relationship. I do feel more open and comfortable, and I guess not bitter. It's not very strong, but it exists. It's something I've noticed for myself.
Someone posted, I think it just exacerbates feelings already there. Can't get a girlfriend, I'll just fap and feel better. But really, it's just making you feel worse about yourself. Might be depressed and fap to feel better, but that depression is just going to come back. Um, I think that's a basically, maybe I don't want to overgeneralize, but I think that's a really big issue for uh, young men in general. And can't say I didn't have that feeling before, um, even though it's a bit embarrassing to admit it. But yeah. So, sorry, what?
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing to admit what?
That if you can't get a girlfriend or find affection, you'll just fap instead, and that feeling will eventually come back. That feeling of dread that you are worth someone else's time or something.
How is it embarrassing to admit that? I'm curious.
It is embarrassing for me, at least. That's fine. That's fine. How?
I guess people just can't explain their feelings because it's their feelings. It's really hard to explain them because they come from the inside.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that explains it pretty well. Anyway, at 9 p.m. my time, they shut off the internet for like 5 minutes to restart the router. So I'm just gonna move on real quick and shut off my my call.
Okay.
So yeah, the next question I'm posting it right now. It's the last question, I promise, and it's a real exact one and a fun one. So if you could go back in time 3 years, what would you do knowing the things you know now? Could be off topic, not related to to PMO at all.
Not get married.
So yes. So 3 years ago, I would have said to myself, hit the gym, man. Hit the fucking gym, bro. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, honestly, Bitcoin.
I buy Bitcoin.
Go make some friends, man.
I buy Bitcoin.
So,
and
I'm
not
gonna
get
jump
married.
off, guys. It's been a nice time. The question's there. So right before my internet shuts off. So thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Well,
listening.
thanks for gardening this. Like it was truly just mesmerizing. Thank you. Really, really cool.
Yeah, that was
No,
awesome.
thank you.
Appreciate it.